All right. Well, thanks again for those of you viewing. I have a great opportunity to interview an amazing student, Amy. Amy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Amy Paul, and I am well, technically second year master's student at the U of A. I did my bachelor's here as well, graduated in December of 2021. Yes, I am originally from Illinois, though I have an Iowa driver's license now. I still like to say I'm one with the corn. So yeah, if you're from the Midwest, you kind of get that. Yeah.
So you did your undergrad here. You're currently a graduate student. So tell us, why did you decide to attend the University of Arizona, both as an undergrad and now as a grad?
Well, my grandparents used to come and uh, stay half the year in Casa Grande. And so we'd visit Tucson a lot, coming down to, visit them. And so I really did like the location of the university. I also, I'm getting scholarship money. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not. And that's really nice. Um, and to be honest, that is why I came to the U of A. But over time, I've actually come to realize that I'm a lot happier here than I would have been pretty much anywhere else.
Nice. Well, that's great. And it's great that you had that connection before knowing about the U of A, that you had that connection with, your grandparents living somewhat close to Tucson. That's great.
Yeah.
So why did you select computer science as your program of interest, your major?
Yeah, so I've always really enjoyed solving puzzles, and I've also just enjoyed doing things with computers. Um, I obviously I grew up with kind of as technology has kind of the advent of the iPhone and all the computing technologies increasing. Um, and so it's just been a really fascinating subject, and it was even before I chose it as my major. And I learned more about it throughout high school and realized, yeah, I think this is what I want to do. And my relationship with computer science as a discipline has changed over time, but it's still true that there's really nothing else I'd rather do.
That's great. And just out of curiosity, what specific area in computer science are you most interested in?
So I recently realized I'm interested in like low level computing things like firmware,
Hmm.
any integration with hardware. That kind of thing is really interesting to me. But I also possibly want to go back at some point and get another master's in like public policy, technology policy, to get in more of a political side of computer science, using my knowledge of technology and of computing to help legislate, help get politics working with technology instead of pretending that they know how it works.
Okay, you would be an informed leader, political leader, possibly to know what's going on. That's awesome.
Possibly more like a staffer. Let's
Oh,
be
there you go.
scary.
Analysis. Gotcha, gotcha. So what have you enjoyed most about your experience here at the U of A and specifically in computer science?
Well, I think I've just enjoyed this year most so far. I started at the U of A right before COVID started. It was in fall 2019. So after my first semester, everything just, kind of was odd and isolating. And I never built up any sort of relationships within the department at all. And this year, I've finally been able to, talk to other students in my classes, make friends within the department, and, even having some good working relationships with department administration and staff and my professors. And it's just been so much more fun to be a part of UA computer science this year than it has been in, the past couple of years. It's, I guess, finally as normal as it's going to get.
That's great. That's wonderful. So what are you hoping to do in long term in terms of careers? You mentioned a little bit about policy, but what are your kind of like your career goals?
Yeah. So that's kind of changed over time. And I mentioned that a little bit. I thought for a long time I wanted to do that software development, do the traditional, like start as an SDE1, you go all the way up and you're managing a project as a software developer. But I've realized that's not exactly where my interests lie, just kind of sitting in a room staring at code. No matter how much I enjoy it in an academic setting, I've done internships. I realized that's not really where I actually want to go. So I'd work I am really excited for the possibility of doing a sort of testing job with that combination of hardware and software. So I'm really open to any sort of career things that come my way. Because I don't want to pigeonhole myself at this point in time. Like I'm really young. I don't need to do that yet.
Keep your options open, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So you are involved in the Graduate Student Council. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and your involvement in it?
Of course. So the whole point of the Graduate Student Council for CS, of course, is to foster a collaborative social working environment for CS graduate students. And sorry about that, to act as a point of contact between students and the department. That's the, party line sort of thing, the official
Right.
description. But really, we're just here to make things easier for students. And I know I can mention that a bit more later. But as for how I'm involved, it's kind of a funny story, actually. So we got an email from the previous president of the graduate council, Connor, last semester, and was saying, hey, if you want to be a part of this council, it's kind of leadership stuff, you should run for these positions. And I said to myself, okay, fine, it'll be a good experience. I should do it. And so I put in a little blurb about myself to run for president, and eventually it turned out that no one else ran. So I kind of got it by default. Uh, but that being said, I'm really glad that I do have this opportunity to help build the council back up again, because COVID, largely made it dormant. We didn't do a lot of things. And so all I want to do is help make the department a great place to be a grad student as best as I can.
That sounds great. So in line with that, what are some of the initiatives you're planning to take on this year?
Yeah, so for starters, I know there have been some frustrations. Okay, a lot of frustrations that students have had in the past with the lack of communication between department leadership and, well, the grad students. And a lot of what I would like to do beyond the more social aspects of the council is making that less of a sticking point. There are still things that aren't ideal, the number of professors who have left in the last year, but communication is important. So we've established monthly meetings with Sonia Debray, Professor Debray, who's the assistant department head, associate department head, and trying to do more with just establishing that dialogue, getting a regular status update about what's the state of the department, because obviously as a grad student, that matters to you. That matters who you're going to be working with, what classes you're going to be able to take. So that's a huge initiative for the council. Also, we're trying to start up graduate teas and workshops for students. So grad teas are informal gatherings on Friday. The first one is today, September 23rd. Of course, if you're watching this, it'll be later. And the idea is students can come and get coffee, eat cookies, and maybe we'll eventually have like pizza or something as more students come and are interested in it. And, talk to your professors as well. The council's held these in the past, sure, but not since COVID, and we're restarting them. And we're also working on holding some workshops in conjunction with the department. Tina Mendoza will be doing one on graduate assistant evaluation stuff at the first one, which is like, of course, you'll be watching this after that. But we're going to set up some more, whether that's on career networking stuff, how to fill out forms to get your degree on time. I know, not the most interesting thing, but still. How to do a technical interview and highlight the skills that you've learned from doing research or experience as a TA, all that kind of stuff.
That sounds great. And I think that grad students will get a lot from those workshops and all the initiatives that the CS Grad Student Council is taking on. How
I hope.
could somebody get involved with the Computer Science Grad Council? If you're a new, graduate student or current graduate student, how could you get involved?
Yeah, so we have weekly office hours. Well, I have weekly office hours in Gould Simpson 934, it's TA office, on Tuesdays from 2:30 to 3:30. And you can come talk to me there, stop me in the hallway. If you stop me in the hallway, I will probably have to get back to you, but at least I'll know you exist. Just, come talk to us, tell us what you want to do. There's a lot. Really, whether that's helping plan workshops, helping with grad teas, serving on department committees, which we have a couple of those coming up. really anything that you'd like to do, just come talk to us. You can email as well. I probably should have said that first. That's I'm sure this will be somewhere, but it's gsc@gmail.com. No, sorry, gsc@cs.arizona.edu. We
Mhm.
actually have the Arizona suffix on it. Um, so yeah, just contact us.
And why would somebody want to get involved with what are the benefits of getting involved with the computer science grad student council?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably a graduate student in the CS department. And so you should want to get involved because this does benefit you. Like you can have fun at game nights, come get, coffee at grad teas, have us advocate on your behalf to the department or college, or, set up these workshops. And all of that requires a lot of work and a lot of effort on the part of a lot of people. And so we need your help to be able to make those things happen. So yeah, please get involved. We need more people.
Absolutely great. Thanks. So, outside of grad student council, what advice would you give a new incoming graduate student to our degree program, to our department?
Yeah, so I guess I have like two things for this that I think are pretty important. First of all, it's okay to not know entirely what you want to do. I know a lot of people come into grad school having worked in the field for years, knowing exactly why they're getting their degree, knowing exactly what they want to do with it, exactly what they want to do research in. And it's really easy to get caught up in that and think, oh gosh, maybe I've chosen something and my first idea isn't what I want. I'm a failure. Oh no. Um, but that's okay. It's okay to not know. Like maybe you started off graduating from undergrad and saying, oh, okay, I really want to do networking, but I'm not sure, but I want to get a PhD. But then you take a class and you don't really like it, or you start researching, you're like, this isn't really for me. And
Mhm.
it's okay to take time and figure things out and experiment. And that's not necessarily, advice just for new grad students, but for literally anyone, because that's advice that took me a long time to internalize. And the other thing is that I would say in computer science in general, I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this. There's a large culture of workaholism. The idea that you have to pull a certain number of all-nighters or grind a certain number of practice problems or do a certain number of outside projects in order to prove yourself or in order to be successful, to get a job, to be a true computer scientist, or you have to, work at a certain company in order to be valid or something. And my advice is that that's ridiculous. You're here as a graduate student because you care about what you do. You care about computer science. And it's okay to want this to be your 9 to 5 job and to not want to eat, sleep, and breathe computers. Maybe for some people that's great. But if that's not you, and it's certainly not me, that's okay. And I think more people need to hear that.
That's great advice. Thank you, Amy. Is there anything else you want viewers that are viewing this that you want them to know or want to share?
Just that they shouldn't be afraid to reach out. If you need help, just ask. If you have a question or concern or anything else, the computer science department, even aside from us from the graduate student council, they're not scary people. Not really. Your concerns will be heard and your questions will be answered. So just ask. Just reach out.
Great. Thanks, Amy. And again, we appreciate you sharing your thoughts and your experience, your story, and telling us more about the grad student council. So thanks for taking the time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.